Good morning and sliding in the afternoon. Judy Allen here, San Antonio, Texas. And yes, you're going to get to see today what happens, right? When I create, sometimes we make a oops and we have an opportunity for creativity. So I had that twice happen. So I'm going to show you. This also gives you a sneak peek of what was in this month's Adventure Club, as well as what's coming up in the retreat on the 18th. All right, with that, let's go down the hands and do it, right? It's a beautiful day here. I'm not sure what the allergy stuff is like, but hey, it's lovely. It looks very springy outside with our rain. Okay, so what we have here, let's see here. I should not have any echoing issues. I forget what my lovely techie did to save me out of that, but that's okay. I you know, if anything's going on, just let me know. All right. So this was the original card that I did for Adventure Club, and from there, something happened. I don't remember what happened that we went into this. So this is actually another one from the club, and ran out of paper, right? So it became an opportunity to sit there and go with something else here. So this is actually for the retreat, but I'm going to show you what happened with the oops here that we're going to work with. This is actually what I designed for the retreat. Oop, got sticky stuff over there as I was trying to do that. Anyway, yeah. Oh, you know what that is? It was a, I'm not sure what that is. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. So this is what I created for the retreat, right? Because this is a gift card holder. You can put your sentiment here and so forth and all. I just didn't put mine there yet. All right, so I'm just going to close that up. And what happened is, then the oops that happened is, when you're busy doing a lot of getting stuff together for a retreat, right? Because we do 18 cards, so things happen. And this is what happened to me, is I actually cut the paper too short. All right. So if you look at this here, yes, I do it all. So I cut the paper, I sit there and die cut and everything and all. So you see I cut it short by about 1/4 of an inch. All right. So we're going to turn this, and this is just, people always ask me, how do I come up with the things I come up with? This is exactly what happens, right? And as I learned in sewing, sometimes the best stuff comes out when you sit up there and you have an oops. So this is what we're going to do with it. All right, I'm going to take this here, and I'm going to take my paper trimmer, and we're going to cut this in half. And we're actually going to cut it in half twice. And the reason for that is simply I have no more paper. I used the last of everything I had. So like I said, this is going to be, it's 4 inches. There's a 4-inch mark. And I'm just going to cut it at 2 inches here. Now this is 5 inches. It was supposed to be 5 1/4. It's 5 inches. So I'm going to cut it 2 inches this way. And then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to cut this at 2 1/2. Now you might be going, why would I cut it like this? Well, I'm going to show you, right? So we're going to go and cut this here. Yeah, I really don't trust myself, because this is like the last, right? I don't have any more of this at all. Now this could be almost a stack and shuffle, but that's not what I'm going to do. But we're going to create something different, right? So these are all equal pieces. So if I wanted to or needed to, right, I could sit there and move them around any way I wanted to. But what I really want to do here is I want to keep them sort of in the same line that I cut them, right? And I'm just trying to make sure I did that, just so I can lay them down and they look like this here. All right, so what we're going to do with this here is we're just going to put these down right like this here. And we're just going to create enough space so it just gives it looks like I got a continuous piece, but I really don't, right? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this here. I'm actually going to take, I'm going to use my glue. And we're just going to glue this here. And we're just going to make it look even, right? Now you got to keep in mind, this is, got to keep which direction we're in, right? So this one's going to be for this here. And so I'm just going to put it just as if, let me see if I can open this up a little more so you can see it a little bit better. This is the front of the card, right? So I'm just coming and putting it just as if this is a whole piece. Oops. Is all I'm going to do. So this is not our 4 by 5 1/4, right? Because I cut it too short. But we're going to lay it out just as if it wasn't. Always, that's why I always tell my team, and even, our classes and everything, I always tell people, don't sweat the small stuff, right? It may seem like it's going to be a huge problem, but it's not really. We're going to make it work. I'm going to go ahead and get this one here too. This is going to be at the bottom. My first thought is like, did you put these on the wrong way? But no. This is just what happens when something's a 1/4 of an inch short, right? You end up with, either I could have centered it and I would have just had the gap on the ends, but instead I chose to go ahead and do it this way, and that way I can sit there and have the gap in the middle, and I'm just going to do something with the middle. Just trying to make sure. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to get it laid out like that. Alright, I'm going to just make sure this right here comes over a little bit more to the corner there. Now I'm really not too worried about the center here because I'm going to work on taking the focus away from here. Now this, for the first card, is I actually put this on each corners. Alright, just like this. But we're going to do it differently this time. We're actually going to take this here and we're going to come to the center with them. Alright, so now we're going to take our focal off of the corners like we did on the other one, and we're just going to put this in the middle just like this here. I'm going to give it a different look, right? A little bit different feel. But, so I won't have a gift card holder on the inside like I did the other one, right? Because I'm putting this down. And I'm going to use all 4. So actually in this here is I had 4 of these, right? And, okay. I have 4 of these. And I used 2 on the outside and 2 on the inside for the gift card holder. Instead this round, I'm going to use all 4 of these on the outside. And I actually don't know anybody getting married. But I could just as easily give this as an anniversary card. Right? Most I know more people have an anniversary card than, well, yeah, because I don't even know of anybody having a wedding. But this would be just as good for an anniversary card. Or maybe somebody will decide to get married and I can give it to them. Don't know. Nobody's informed me. I'm not in the know. So that's how we're going to do this. This was actually part of the bundle, right? It die cuts this here. And you don't have to do it in gold, but because the paper was gold, right? I want to do it in gold. Just envision it in different colors, right? If you're creating something else. Now I'll just put these there because I just wanted to keep it there a second. I mean, I had to fiddle with it because it's glue. We're just going to come and put it down. So yeah, so the die actually cuts it all like this. So actually what happens is the die has 2 of these on one cut. It looks like they're going to be joined, and they're not. When they come out after they've been die cut, you have 2 pieces, individual pieces. So I didn't have to do anything other than this and doing what I'm doing right now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I have this and I have some vellum. So we're going to do just like we did with the other one then. The other one I stamped on the front here to the happy couple. So we're still going to do the same thing. Doesn't matter if it's an anniversary card or if it's a wedding card. It still is relevant, right? That's the main thing. It's still relevant. And so we're going to stamp this here. Now I'm using crumb cake. On the original I used gold. Many times I would tell people in my retreats and classes, if you don't have the heat embossing, or let's say you don't have it with you, and you do have it, stamp it in crumb cake. Crumb cake is a very good color that goes with gold. I'll clean that in a few minutes afterwards. And then we're just going to sit there. Now I will tell you, keep your eye on the vellum, because it's easy to go searching for it. We're just going to glue this to the center here, and then we're just going to put this up on dimensionals on the front. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with the rest of it, because we're going to do something that's pretty cool. It was out of stock, but it's in stock again now. Yeah, let me get this here. So I'm just centering it. It's just easy, right, to sit there and line those up. Alright, I'm going to put it on with dimensionals. Now the main thing is, right, when you do this, you want to make sure when you use the dimensionals, That's the mini ones. I don't want the mini ones. Yeah. When you use dimensionals, right, and you got vellum, you just want to make sure it's behind the solid stuff, right? So we're just going to put it here and here. That's all I need. Take this off. Now you could double stack this, so if you wanted it higher, then all you have to do is just double stack. And I'm just going to put it right here. And it just gives a nice, elegant touch, right? Really makes it look over the top. And all I did was switch things around, right? Okay, now we're going to fold this down. And it's easier, really and truly, if you take your bone folder, because it wants to pop up. The very first card I showed you, I actually had, and I'll show you again, where you could sit there. It was a pop-up, and I had a mechanism to hold it down. So this one here, I had pushed this up so this would hold the flap down, right? So if you don't have something like that, though, then you're going to need to do what we're doing right now. And that's going to make sure we use a bone folder, make sure that's nice and flat and good there. And then we're going to come over to this side and do the same thing, right? We just want to make sure that it's got nice and creased so it folds down nicely, right? All right. So now when you come across, it's going to be just like this. Right, it's just come a little bit of that, but the thing is, we don't have anything really to hold it down, right? So that's why we want to make sure we sit there and crease that pretty good. If you feel like you need to again, just do it again, okay? The world's not going to end one way or the other. Okay? All right. So we got that there, and I'm going to put this here just like this here. Now, we have this piece that's just going to go right there at the top. It's 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. Put it at the top, and we're going to wrap some ribbon around it, and then I'm going to show you this new package. So it's, like I said, it's been out. It's called the Beautifully Adorned Ephemera Pack. Let's see if I can get that out of my mouth. And like I said, it's been out, but it is back in, and we're going to use it. I wasn't in. I had to use another pack for our club. It was just as pretty, but it was different, right? They weren't exactly the same. All right, so we can put that there. And then I'm going to save the ribbon to last, because you know what's nice about the ribbon? In this particular case, since we don't necessarily have anything to place this down per se, we can actually wrap this around the whole card right here and do what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and open this up here. We're going to stamp in the center here, and then we're going to use the ephemera pack. All right, so we can get this on here. This aside. All right, and we're just going to put Wedding Wishes in the center. All right, now this is where the ephemera pack is going to come in handy. So this is what's in the ephemera pack. If you haven't seen it, you really need to see it in person, because this is all on vellum, right? Now, if I delicately punch this center is going to come out, and so will this leaf here. I wanted to keep it like that. I'm not necessarily going to use it on this particular card, but I could, leaving my options open. But look at all this pretty stuff. So when I was trying to get the stuff out, you could see it. So you got 2 sheets of everything in here. You got the beautiful flowers. What I'm going to use right here is this one right here is what I want to use. And actually what I use is this here. So you can see it's got a lot of pretty stuff that you can put in the card itself, or you can sit there and put on the outside of the envelope. But see how it's just going to come out? So you got to be careful when it wants to poke out, which is good. It means it's die cut really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part here, which don't throw anything away, right? Because you could easily use this. I'm going to use this one right here. All right, it still gives me room to make signatures if I want signatures or anything else. And I'm just going to put it down with glue. But see how it just gives an over-the-top look? Looks like I really fussed with that, and I really didn't. I just sat there and punched it out, right? It's already pre-die cut. All I had to do is just punch it out. So let's do it like this. But if you know somebody getting married and you need a card, put a message in the comments below. And this might be headed your way. All right, so there. Now, because I've got this and I got all this other pretty stuff, I have options, right? So let's see if there's anything else we'd like to do to add to over our top experience with this. Because this right here is, we've already got something on it, right? So it would be very pretty to put this. We can actually poke this out, and let's see what else are our options we might want to look at. Because there's some very beautiful flowers. I'm thinking of this one right here. Everything must be attached to me. I'm thinking of this one right here. I've been eyeing this one ever since this package came in. Now you can stamp on vellum, right? You can use your StazOn ink instead of stamp on vellum. I could have just as easily stamped Wedding Wishes right here. And I'll most probably do that at the retreat. Because anything that's odd that we usually have or left over, an odd size, I usually get it. So here was the other. So here was the other that I had right here. Was just that we had this pretty flower right there. But I really am thinking I really sort of like this. I think it's just very elegant, very pretty. I put this on the envelope as well too. So I'm just going to put this right here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now this one, keep in mind, right? I just showed you that we have layers here. We've got the leaf. We've got this here. As well as we have, so we've got 1, 2, 3 parts here that can easily poke out, right? So I'm just going to sit up here and I'm going to come behind this here on the stem. Let's see if I can see the stem. My glue on the stem. So I'm just trying to find the natural stuff that's there, right? Instead of me creating any additional lines or anything else. And this here is actually a circle, right? So it's just an oval shape. It's on both sides, so I'm just going to come down both edges on both sides. And I believe that'll do the trick for me. It should. Might have to give it a moment to dry because it's vellum, right? So vellum's going to dry a little bit differently than paper is. So just keep that in mind, right? All right. So yes, it's going to have a little bit of a lift to it, right? Because I'm not going to glue down the edges. I'm just going to glue this right here. And I didn't have to stamp or anything. All I did was just poke out the pre-die cut in there, and I've got it already, right? And I can sign up here. You want to sign anywhere you want to, right? You've got all the room. All right, so we're going to have the happy couple here. How do you like that? So here's the original one. The original of originals, right? Then I had the opportunity to create this one right here. To the happy couple. Now ours is going to look like this, except that we're going to have this appearance. It's going to look like this right here, and we separated it, right? So it's just one of those things, an opportunity for creativity, right? Anytime we have an oops, it's an opportunity for creativity. Not throwing it in the trash or anything. We're just going to see what we can create new with it. So this particular case, I'm going to come back here. Now, when you sit there, like I'm thinking, like right now as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, if I don't want the ribbon to move and I want it to stay on no matter what, right? So if they open it, everything else, I can still have the ribbon back here. Then just take you a piece of tear and tape. Iron this just about right. And I'm just going to put it right here, okay? And it's going to be covered. Now, the one card I had a minute ago wasn't that it had tear and tape. It had I actually put some Velcro there. And then I'm just going to use my paper snips. I didn't see my, I could use my other tool too, but I didn't see my pick tool. All right, and all I did is I just folded in half, right? I'm one of those type of people, if I'm going to wrap my ribbon around, I want to make sure that I have enough on the other side that if I need to trim anything, I can. So I'm just going to put it about the midway point here. I'm not measuring it. It's just a good guesstimate, right? I'm not a machine. I'm a human being that makes cards, and they don't always look exactly the same as even if they were the same cutout. All right, so I'm just going to use a basic square knot, right? In case you don't remember, square knot is left over right. And now we're fixing to do our right over left. And that is your basic square knot. Now, the only thing is, you want to make sure it's getting the center, because when I did one of them, it didn't center it, but it was okay, right? The only thing is, right, is that I had to undo my tear and tape, so I can move it just enough. There you go. All right, so if you need to move it just enough, then that's what you do. Just go back side and fidget with that tearing tape a little bit, and there you go. And then I'm just going to cut these off as an angle. And now I have a very beautiful, over the top, right, over the top wedding card or anniversary card. And you can twist that as much as you want. If you want to just make it into a bow, you could. I didn't. I just want to do it in my knot. And I might even do it a little bit shorter. Right, you want to be sure to do it at an angle though, because this definitely does fray, and I actually used it on one of the cards. I'll show you that I actually frayed it deliberately, not accidentally. And it was on this card here that's just like this but different colors. Right here I frayed it, and I just used tearing tape underneath here to hold it down, but that is actually just frayed. That's all it is. So if you want to know what it looks like frayed, but looky there, now we have a very beautiful card that we would have never created to begin with if it wasn't for the oops. So here we go. Here was the one I started with, and this one was 1/4 of an inch in length there, too short because I got the paper wrong. And this is one, I forget, I don't remember what I did, but from here was the original with this on the inside that went to this here, right? That went to this here, all because I cut the paper wrong. So there you go. That's my secret to how I create some of my cards. It's not like I have necessarily a template or anything else. People always want to know, where do you get the idea from? Where do you get the idea from? Because sometimes it's one of those things, right? Is I have something to work with, and I'm going to have to do something with it. And what am I going to do with it? So that was the case here. It's like I'm not going to throw beautifully gold fold paper out, right, when I know I can make something out of it. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it, right, because it's all about creating, sharing, and giving. So if you make that oops, just remember it's an opportunity for creativity. I have to say, there's a day or two that I'm really not in the mood for an opportunity for creativity, so I'll set it aside for the next day. But anyway, it is always an opportunity for creativity. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank you for supporting us not only here on Facebook, but also on YouTube and Instagram. We always post our videos on YouTube because, right, Facebook only keeps the videos for 30 days. So with that, be blessed. Have a totally amazing week. And if you want to keep up with other ideas and tutorials and so forth and all, then be sure to sign up for our newsletter. Look forward to seeing you next week. Have an amazing week. Bye.